In today's conversation, we'll analyze some of the top trade candidates for a football team after the draft, as we prepare for the start of training and preseason. The focus will be on athletes who are realistically tradable, which excludes some big names. The idea is to shift attention to those who have significant value. For instance, while the idea of trading a specific player might seem attractive, the reality is that no one would be interested in that deal, and it is unlikely that anyone would seek to trade for him. Let's start with the main topic, which is the standout edge rusher. I understand that part of the fan base may be in favor of trading him, but I don't think that will happen. Honestly, I don't see any party involved, whether it's the athlete, his agent, or the team and its various groups, really wanting him out. I believe there is a mutual interest in keeping him on the team. However, I expect the usual complications that arise when it comes to contracts. For various reasons, the urgency and timing to close a deal often do not align with what many of us imagine. As a reminder, we are conducting a survey to decide on the player's future. You choose the date when he can be signed or potentially traded, and you can check the options on a specific site, which is more practical than sharing the direct link. If you wish to participate, you can contribute a sum, and the prize will be evenly split among the winners, with the total amount currently set at a specific value. Now, let's shift our focus to more concrete trade candidates. Keeping in mind the pass rusher group, let's discuss another player. Here, there are several complexities to consider, so don't be fooled. The investments made in this position could put the player in a delicate situation. The impression is that his performance in a recent season was not as good as in another. What many expected to be a standout year did not materialize last season. The team added more players in this position, including a colleague signed for 1 year. Additionally, they selected new athletes in consecutive rounds, following a previous investment. Regarding these players' contractual issues, it's important to note that the financial impact is relatively minor. The team's current salary cap is at a specific amount, while a new team would be responsible for a lesser amount. This number reflects the expected savings if the player is traded. However, he is recovering from an injury. This raises concerns about his availability and health in time for training, although the outlook is positive. If he performs well in training and stands out in preseason, it's plausible that a team could make an offer, possibly a selection on a specific day. So, the question is, what should be done with him? Trade him or keep him for another year while building a strong edge rusher group? Leave your opinions in the comments about today's discussion. Moving on to another athlete, there seems to be curiosity around him as well. While some may show interest in another player, the question remains, does anyone really want him? As it seems, no. He showed improvement each season, although his initial references were quite low. Can he surpass a certain number? Now, his value is set at a specific amount. A meme shared by a fan account portrayed the situation accurately. There was little excitement about him as the second receiver. This is not ideal. The role of the third receiver might prove more suitable for him. With other players competing, the challenge continues in forming a roster, especially without injuries affecting the lineup. Currently, it's 610. In fact, a post captured the situation well. No one considered him for the number 2 receiver spot, which is not the best scenario. As for the third receiver, this left me curious. In addition to Turpin and Mingo, Fenoy and Brooks are also competing, and it's challenging to keep all these wide receivers on the team unless injuries arise. The salary cap is very tight, with $3,630,000. Miami Brown received a sum of 10. Therefore, this is not a significant amount given this circumstance. The new team would have a debt of $3,401,000. However, I would argue that, in the end, you might be one step away from an injury that could complicate the situation, especially if the trade of Tolbert occurs in this scenario. I believe the ideal move is to keep Tolbert for another year, potentially securing a compensatory pick next season. Unless a player like Mingo really stands out in training and preseason, making it necessary to release Tolbert to make space, this would be the situation where that would make sense. Not because you've added Pickens at this moment. I would keep him as my number 3 receiver. Speaking of George Pickens, there's the possibility of pre-ordering his shirt from an online store, all through a sales platform. You can pre-order, and the shirt will be sent once the final number is decided, so there's no wait. It will be something like, "This is a pre-order, and as soon as the number is finalized, we'll send one to you." So, it's a good alternative. I believe everyone watching expected me to mention this name, Dion Clark, the linebacker. He's somewhat losing ground with various changes now, as the team stopped starting him last year. He played quite a bit in 2023 due to injuries to other players, but my point, which I believe is the same as the team's, is that his instincts are still not there. Maybe that changes this season, and the lack of impactful plays won't be repeated. Dear Overton probably won't be available for Week 1. In fact, he won't be, but the team sought an athlete who can make a difference. They brought back another linebacker and added a new player. I bet there's a good chance all these 4 players will be ahead of Dion Clark in the depth chart. For Week 1, the team moved forward and brought in a new player. They brought back another linebacker and reintegrated one who was already known. The team also added a new name. I'm sure all these 4 athletes will occupy positions ahead of Dion Clark, especially considering that in today's NFL, there is great positional flexibility that goes beyond traditional divisions. They could play different roles. I would start by watching how one of the players performs in camp. He could take the 4th linebacker spot, while another would return as the 5th linebacker in that context, also influencing special teams depending on other athletes who may be ahead of him. Now, the financial issue could be the biggest challenge in this case. The cost for Dion Clark is high, while for the new player, it's lower. This represents a saving for the team. I believe he is clearly in a delicate situation regarding the roster. I don't know if the team will be able to find an interested party with that cap hit. And I wonder if this could be one of those contract adjustments where the team says, "We want to keep you, but not for that amount. Can we reduce it and guarantee your stay?" This could be a possibility. So, mention an athlete you would consider trading. Now let's talk about 2 safeties. I don't think the level of additions to this position makes it very likely, but there are savings to be considered. I think there could even be value in other teams if the money can be adjusted. When he's healthy, one of the players makes the team win. When he's in good shape, the team tends to win, as this type of athlete has a positive impact. Last year, the tight end position faced significant challenges, which represents a major concern. Despite Blake Hooker showing a slightly more consistent performance, the big plays that were expected were still missing. Adam Lee Cooker, while competent, isn't a standout athlete. Both contributed solidly, but still fall short of the desired level of excellence. The Cowboys seem to have some depth issues, especially with the return of Maris Bell and Juan Thomas, who are fighting for their positions on the team. Elijah Clark, Zion Childress, and Mike Smith are struggling to secure starting spots. The question that arises is whether we should accept a significant reduction in depth, which remains uncertain. Financial factors are also relevant in this situation. Donovan Wilson has a projected salary of $8,650,000 in relation to the Cowboy salary cap this year, while the new player would be at $7 million. Thus, the potential savings for the team come into play. Blake Hooker's cost is actually lower, with a contract worth $7,700,000. I believe, given the contract situation and the lack of impactful additions so far, it's likely that both will stay, but perhaps only for one season. In a year, we may ask ourselves if most of these athletes will still be on the team. Who's the better safety, Donovan Wilson or Adam Lee Cooker? Leave your opinion in the comments. And we also have TJ Bass. If you had asked me this a month ago, I would have said I'd prefer to keep him as an option. However, perhaps now is the right time. Here are the details. Both in 2024 and 2023, he was a good blocker in the running game, although he performed slightly worse in pass protection. Penalties have increased. We've already seen TJ Bass play as a starter in the NFL. I don't think he's a top-quality starter. He'd probably fit better as a 6th or 7th player on the offensive line under ideal circumstances, but there are many variables in the league. The Cowboys have Brock Hoffman as one of the main backups, in addition to the 5 clearly defined starters. Robert Jones received significant investment. So, we have 7 main players, with 2 options for the interior line, Richards or a Johnny Cornelius. Nathan Thomas can play as a guard or tackle. Bass is an athlete who stands out mainly in the interior position. If an opportunity arises for a mid-third day pick with a team that believes TJ Bass can be a starter, this becomes an interesting consideration. Moreover, he is extremely affordable, as the signing bonus is practically non-existent. With Tyler Booker now as the Cowboys' starting right guard, Brock Hoffman returns as the main interior rotation player, with Robert Jones as an option for the guard position. If there's a chance for a trade, if it's just a third-day pick or something similar, I believe TJ Bass could be the most viable option that could still generate some return for the team. When the Cowboys make moves, we'll do videos on that. Let's follow if a trade will happen or not, but it's always a good topic for discussion. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer expressed deep concern this week over quarterback Will Grier's recent performances, admitting to being shocked by the player's low technical level during off-season training sessions. The revelation has raised eyebrows within the Cowboys organization and sparked speculation about the team's depth at the quarterback position. Schottenheimer, known for his disciplined coaching style and attention to detail, did not hold back in his evaluation. According to sources close to the team, the coach was expecting Grier to show more consistency, particularly in his footwork, decision-making, and overall grasp of the playbook. Instead, what he witnessed left him visibly unsettled. "We expected more polish at this stage," Schottenheimer reportedly told team staff, underscoring the growing pressure on Grier to elevate his game quickly. Will Grier, drafted in the third round in 2019 by the Carolina Panthers, has struggled to find a permanent spot in the NFL. After bouncing between rosters, he landed in Dallas hoping to reinvent his career. However, with Schottenheimer's frank assessment now public, his future with the Cowboys is in jeopardy. Insiders suggest that Grier's inability to execute even basic schemes has created doubts about his ability to contribute effectively, even as a backup. This development comes at a time when the Cowboys are exploring options to solidify their quarterback room behind starter Dak Prescott. The franchise cannot afford uncertainty in such a pivotal position, especially with playoff aspirations running high this season. While it's still early in the offseason, Schottenheimer's reaction sends a clear message. Expectations are high, and underperformance won't be tolerated. As training camp approaches, Grier will have limited opportunities to change the narrative. Whether he can rise to the challenge or becomes another name lost in the shuffle remains to be seen. What is certain is that the pressure is mounting, and Schottenheimer's warning shot may be the wake-up call Grier desperately needs. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.